Hello. So we're back in our Bellarmine Writing Workshop, Google Classroom, and this is the third video from the content that we covered at our 11 o'clock meeting on Monday, June 8th. So in this video, we are going to talk about some writing anchor papers and the writing rubric we're going to use. Just as this is popping up, it takes a minute. I have the writing rubric up here. And then the writing samples we're going to discuss are down here. So let's look at the rubric together first. Each of you should have your own copy of that. And this will be a place we come together to talk about your writing in the conferences. So I'm not going to read this whole rubric to you. It is similar to many, many writing rubrics that I'm sure you've worked with in the past. Most writing rubrics are pretty comparable to each other. So these are the topics that we're going to focus in on over on the left-hand side. There is a guiding question to help you understand that topic a little bit better. And then you can see the language for accomplished, proficient, developing, or limited placement for each of those things. So this is what I want you to think about with this rubric, with any rubric, is this. Okay. You, for the most part, are sophomores and juniors in high school. When you were in 7th grade and you wrote a paper for your English teacher, maybe it scored proficiently. Would that same paper score proficiently as a freshman in high school? Is a student who's writing at a proficient level in 3rd grade, after they go up to 6th grade, if their writing doesn't change, are they still proficient writers? No. These rubrics kind of flow with you as a writer. As you get older, the expectations of what you can do as a writer shift up. So when I score your writing with you, I will ask you a simple question. I will say, do you want me to score this as though you're a sophomore in high school? Or do you want me to score this as if you're a college student? And you're going to tell me what you prefer. And then I'm going to give you honest feedback to go with that, okay? Remember, you're in a special place of privilege to get to take these Bellarmine classes, and we want to bring our A game. We want to represent eminence well. We want to get good grades while we can get a strong and free college GPA. That's incredible. What an incredible opportunity. So the language of this rubric, it can be the same-ish for the most part. Once you're past 7th grade, really just writing gets, the better you get at it, the more beautiful it is to read, the more interesting it is to read. But I'll ask you, hey, when we look at this rubric together, do you want me to pretend like you're a college freshman, or do you want me to treat you as you are the grade that you are? And then that kind of decision will be on you, and then you'll need to kind of understand then what to do with the feedback that I give you. And we'll talk about it, but that's what this rubric is, and we'll come into it. I'll look at your writing, I'll score it, and then we'll kind of move on from there. All right, so there's our rubric. What about these writing samples? Let's come on down here. I've got 2 areas. I have got an informative or explanatory writing sample, one from grade 12 and one from grade 9-10. It was either a freshman or sophomore that wrote these. These writing samples come from a website called Achieve the Core. It's a great website. The link to it is right down here. And there's lots and lots and lots of other writing samples here. I think it's useful because a lot of times students are kind of like, well, my writing's like everybody else in my classroom, but they might not really be comparing it to a legitimately reviewed and anchored sophomore level text. So that's why I'm showing you these. All right. So if a paper is informative or explanatory, it's just giving information. It's not really an opinion. It's not really an analysis. It's just giving information or explaining a situation. So there's 2 papers here. In this paper, students were asked to research a topic of their choice, and in this paper they did wolves, and establish a focus within that topic, how or why wolves communicate. You have that same kind of open-ended prompt option for your essay. And I want to point that out because this is a good example of that. So you could choose a topic of your choice, snowboarding, and establish a focus within that topic, the economic impact of snowboarding, or how snowboarding can improve one's mental health. Right? I wouldn't pick snowboarding because I don't know anything about it, but I want you to think about this frame of a potential essay so that you could write about something you care about, a topic and a focus within the topic, and then you would do research, and then you would have a beautiful paper. So this is about wolves and how they communicate, freshman, sophomore. This one is about a McDonald's advertisement, and it's they looked at like a McDonald's ad together, and then they explained what was happening in the ad. Now, we're not going to read all of these, but we're going to look at the first paragraph of each. So what I like about Achieve the Core is not only do they have the paper that the student wrote, but then over here on the side is the kind of like an annotation explaining why this works, why this is good. This is the McValues paper. So this is grade 12. This is a senior explaining an advertisement. Let's just read a paragraph together. Looking at this ad, who would guess that those golden arches bring home approximately $14 billion a year? $14 billion a year, it should say to or from customers worldwide. And there's an error. It's not perfect. Who would guess that McDonald's is the world's leading food organization, employs over 28,000 workers on 120 different countries? The ad is, in fact, an image of a completely different nature. It's a calm, nostalgic-looking ad. Nothing in the peaceful summer scene hints that McDonald's has or ever will represent anything other than quality family living. The characters in the ad are strategically positioned to inspire within the viewer feelings of fun and familiarity. Alliteration. Feelings of fun and familiarity. The picture located at the center of the page depicts an older woman with a little girl, perhaps her granddaughter, beside her. The two are lying on their stomachs, propped up by elbows on the sand, and so it goes on. So this is a 2.5 page MLA style essay. All right, 2.5 page MLA style, double spaced. This is all the heading that you can do over here on that left-hand side, just like that. And this is an analysis. So here's like a little bit more about it that you can read. And then here's the paper just clean without that annotation on the side and the actual kind of MLA style. So this is what seniors in high school should be writing like. The characters of the ad are strategically positioned to inspire within the viewer feelings of fun and familiarity. It's a beautiful sentence. It's clean. It's concise. I know what it means. There's alliteration. It's not predictable. So this is the kind of writing at like a high school senior level. This is more of a freshman sophomore level. The secret communication of wolves. A long piercing howl shatters the quiet night in the northern forest. The howl grows into a chorus of yelps and barks, and the valley echoes to the chilling sound. The leader of the pack starts the noise, while the other pack members, as well as other wolf packs, join in. Notice that we've got some MLA citation here. This is referencing O'Toole, page 22. If I go down to works cited at the end, oh no, where are the works cited? Maybe they got deleted off. There should be a works cited. I'm going to open with Google Docs because it'll look cleaner. Anyway, that in-text citation is there, as yours should be as well. Letting it load. Among wolves, communication is a very highly developed skill. For instance, the howl of a pack leader has many different meanings. Most of the time, a lone howl is a warning for other packs. It tells them to stay away, for there are many young to be protected and food to be guarded. This is a lovely paper. It's nice and clean. It's concise. But you'll notice that the vocabulary is a lot more simplistic. It's not super complex. It's just kind of straightforward there, right? So this is a little basic for a college level class, which is reasonable because the student is 4 years away from being in college. So notice that this is a 1, 2, 3 and a little bit more page paper of a student choosing a topic and then researching the topic of their choice with a focus. So this is a good example if you're wanting to do that, the secret communication of wolves and the things that the writer is doing here to contextualize it and make it strong. Freshman, sophomore writing level. All right. So then let's go over and just look at 2 more. These are informative explanatory writing samples. And now I've also got argument and opinion writing samples. For grade 12, there is a literary analysis of Macbeth. This is called a Macduff, a True Hero. A senior presents a literary analysis for the Shakespearean play Macbeth. And in the grade 9 argument, a freshman does a literary analysis of To Kill a Mockingbird. So let's start with the freshman this time. All right, this is a freshman paper. One of the most misunderstood emotions is love. There are so many different perspectives that it can be interpreted as something completely opposite of its intention. Harper Lee, the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, states that it's a love story, plain and simple. This statement confuses many people because her book is anything but a romance novel. However, that is not the kind of love she is referring to. This is the love among family, friends, neighbors, and enemies. This love is called agape, and as Martin Luther King defines it, it is a disinterested in love which the individual seeks not his own good, but the good of his neighbor. It begins by loving others for their sakes, and it's a love seeking to preserve and create community. In To Kill a Mockingbird, love is brought up in many ways. Love is shown throughout the book as different actions by the characters coming together so they can understand each other. The phrasing of that claim needs a little bit of love. This is a solid opening paragraph, Scrolling on down, it goes on. Oh, there's our works cited. This is a 3-page essay analyzing that piece of the presence of love as a theme in To Kill a Mockingbird. All right. Let's look then at kind of something similar, but at a senior level. I'm kidding. I clicked the same thing again. So what we're looking for, we're asking ourselves, how is the writing different? How is the writing growing? Macduff, a True Hero. Though many refer to the titular character of William Shakespeare's Macbeth as a tragic hero, another character stands out as a much greater protagonist. While Macbeth is driven toward madness and committing atrocities through his tragic flaw of ambition, Macduff lacks such a flaw and remains uncorrupted and heroic throughout the play. Just look at these like $10 words. $10 words. Atrocities, ambition, protagonist, titular. I mean, this is nicely done. As Macbeth strives to gain power and prestige at the expense of the lives of his king, his friends, and his countrymen, Macduff, meanwhile, endures a great personal loss in his attempts to stop Macbeth's tyrannical rule and restore justice and freedom to Scotland. I won't keep reading, but I want you to see how this writer and the girl or boy who was writing about To Kill a Mockingbird, they know what they're talking about. They have something that they want to say. This is going to go on. This is going to go on. This is like almost a 4-page paper with only 2 works cited, okay? Which is plenty. There's no reason to have 8 works cited unless you're really going to read in detail and analyze 8 sources, right? So I think that it's really useful to compare your own writing to writing samples for other students at your same grade level, and also to look at anchor papers for the next level up to know what you're striving for, because none of us have arrived. I mean, I write and then I rewrite and then I rewrite, even like emails that I send to my colleagues. I'll write it and then I'll pause and I'll read over it again and then I'll fix this, I'll fix that, I'll fix that. It never just comes the first time through for me, ever. So, and I pay attention to the way I want to sound. Like I look at other people's writing and I'm like, ooh, I want to sound like that. What are they doing there? And I mimic it. I don't copy it. I don't plagiarize it, but I try to pay attention to what they're doing so that I can kind of do that too. I think that's what good writers do. And so these samples are here for you so that you can get an idea of what I'm looking for. This is what I want to see. I want to see at a minimum that you're able to produce a 2 to 3 page essay at your grade level. So if you're a sophomore, it should look like this sophomore's paper. If you're a junior, it should look like the senior paper. And really, when we're writing for our Bellarmine classes, it should look as good as we can get, as good as we can get at a minimum at these paper levels, but potentially even above that. You know, I don't want it to seem like an impossible task, but we are writing at a higher level in college. Like you just are. You just are. You're reading stuff that's harder. You're writing stuff that's harder. And it helps to look at other things people have written to get an idea about how to do that. And if you're unsure about how to use these anchors, that's something we can conference. If you're like, Miss Waddell, I really want to write like this person, but I don't know what you mean, then I'll show you. Like I can show you how we can break that down so that you can incorporate that into your own writing. So that's my video on writing samples, how to unpack this stuff here. Remember, we will use our writing rubric that's here to score your own writing submissions. This is the third video. Next, we're going to talk about how to build an essay. So that'll be video 4. I'll see you in a minute.